We're joined by Mike Jones on the Mattress Warehouse hotline. He covers the NFL for USA Today. I think I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I'm going to go off the field for a second. Would the Carolina Panthers be up for sale following the season if Jerry Richardson, the owner, wasn't being investigated for misconduct in the workplace? Because, Mike, let's be honest. Why would you sell an NFL team unless you're being forced to? You just wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way. Like, nobody goes out and sells NFL teams. Right. It just doesn't happen. Right. The last time that we saw a team being sold was, Donald Sterling with that scandal there. But Jerry Richardson paid $200 million, I think it was, and now they're a $1 billion franchise, and they're thriving down there in Charlotte. There's no way in the world if he did not have these allegations coming out and then news of him reaching settlements and things like that. And there's got to be more skeletons in the closet. And that's why he's just like, you know what, it's time. I got to get out from under this thing, because either somebody pressured him to, or somebody said, if you're smart, you do this thing right now before it gets even worse.
Well, Mike, had you ever heard of the move of asking an employee, a woman, to shave her legs? I mean, come on.
And the seatbelt buckle move. I'd never heard of that one before, where he insisted on buckling in a female employee that he was taking out to lunch so he could reach across her body to put the buckle on her. That I'd never heard of. I mean, so many levels of creepiness with Jerry Richardson.
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. I was going to say, like, that's like another level of creepy. Like, who thinks of that stuff? Right. But I just don't know who. But some of the stuff, that he said and did, and, there's got to be more. But, again, he's probably not the only one. I'm sure Jerry Jones has paid off his share. There's no way to hold on to that team and continue to operate. And it's a good thing that he's going to move on and sell this thing, because it just was absurd, the stuff that we were reading that was coming out, the way he was treating people.
All right, so it is a small body of work, but as we're talking about young quarterbacks and Blake Bortles, we have to talk about what Jimmy Garoppolo is doing. 3-0. Has led the 49ers back. I think they were 1-10 before he took over. He's looking like the real deal, and he's going to be a free agent, right? He's going to get a big, fat contract, maybe even be franchised. Talk about Jimmy G.
Yeah, well, the 49ers, maybe, looking at this, they probably should have made a push for him in the offseason, because as we're seeing now, because they have a quarterback, they're really competitive. And we don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying they would have been like the Rams, but they definitely would have made some noise. He is a guy that you can tell he just gets it. He's got the anticipation. He knows how to stand in the pocket. He knows how to move in the pocket to extend plays. He doesn't take off to run. He just moves around to buy his receivers time. He's directing traffic and telling them to improvise on the fly and standing in there making some really tough throws. And I guess we've seen people who are Tom Brady's backups who go somewhere and they don't do very well. But Garoppolo in college basically carried a pretty bad team and raised their level of play. And now he's 49. And, they're doing this without their best. Pierre Garçon is injured, and they still have, holes that they've got to fill. But he is a guy who can really elevate the play of his teammates. And so they've got it right. They really need to make sure that they get a contract extension worked out, or that they franchise him so they don't lose him, because now they can go into the draft and address other needs and not have to use like a top pick, whatever pick that's going to be. It's not going to be as high now that they're, reeling off wins, but not having to use that on a quarterback.
Mike, was it not possible for the 49ers to extend him when they brought him in via the trade? Because now with him playing so well, all he's doing is winning leverage. It's like almost like Kirk Cousins part 2. Like every game he plays well, his value just increases. Why didn't John Lynch and the brass there in San Francisco say, hey, look, this guy's got the talent. There's a reason we're giving up a second-round pick for him. Let's get him signed now. Or was it reluctance on Jimmy G's camp saying, look, we're going to go and we're going to elevate our value. We're going to play well down the stretch here, and we're going to get even more money. Which was it?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Remember, even though you knew he had talent, but he'd only played in really 2 games. So you can't say, okay, fine, I'm going to pay you $27 million a year for 2 games. I think that they understood, look, we're going to have to roll with this, see where it is. They probably did try to talk about it just to gauge it. But if you're his agent and you're confident in your guy, just like with the Redskins and Kirk Cousins in 2015, late in the year when they came to him, they were kind of like, you know what, we'll just wait and see how he continues to do down the stretch, and then we'll talk to you guys again, his agent was, once we get to the offseason. So I'm sure that Don Yee, being a smart guy, and he, understands quarterback contracts, he was just going to say, look, let's just wait and see, and then we'll revisit this thing. It just didn't really make sense for them to pay that kind of money without having seen it, and it didn't make sense for him to sign a modest deal when they felt like he could go out there and really prove himself. And so I don't think it's quite as bad as the Kirk Cousins thing, because John Lynch has said, look, if we had this quarterback when I was playing, the Bucs would have won 5 championships. So they're not even being, kind of like the Redskins, beat around the bush. We'll see if you can prove yourself. They love this kid, and I think they'll probably get something done instead of, being the type of saga that we're seeing with the Redskins over and over again.